Hello, Nadilla here. Welcome back to Stamping September. Today we're using the stamping set from Book Lover 2 from Planners Anonymous, and we're going to use that to decorate the week of September 12th through the 18th. But I have a confession to make. I did decorate the 5th through the 11th, and then I erased the video. Hear me out. I didn't like it. I didn't use it, and then after my daughter saw that, she went in and she fixed it, and it looks a lot better now. But by then I had already erased the video. But it's okay though. As of the filming of this video, I have gone back and used those pages, so it's not wasted, I promise. Anyway, moving on. So for this week, I am changing up the layout yet again. I got inspired by a post that I saw on the Archer and Olive Instagram page. It's kind of like the vertical that I've used before. The difference is that instead of decoration at the bottom or at both the bottom and the top, the decoration's mostly top heavy. So I want to try that out and see how I feel about it. The other difference is that instead of having two spaces for Saturday and Sunday, I will just do a weekends space. As I've mentioned before, I don't really do much writing on the weekends. If I write anything in those spaces, it gets written in afterwards, kind of an afterthought. If there's something that I need to remember, like something with one of the kids, something that I know I'm gonna want to look back on, I might write it in. Otherwise, it just gets left empty. So we're gonna have each page split into thirds, going Monday through Friday, and then the last space will just be weekend highlights. At this point, I am ready to start stamping. I've got a pretty good idea of where I want things. I didn't show on camera, but I did sketch out some areas, I don't know if you can see that, of where I thought I would put some of these stamps. So basically I just opened them up and went for it. Looking at the stamp set, thought it would be really cute if I used each of these little girls as a header for my days, because she's reading a book, so one side, one cover can be the day of the week, the other could be the number. That's what I ended up doing. I was filming at a very my baby was not having it the day of filming. He was not happy that I was filming and not paying attention to him. He wanted me to watch him play with my pens. So there's a lot of, me stamping and not, having to restamp because it's not dark enough, and camera shaking. I think the camera fell at one point. Don't worry, I didn't leave that clip in. I think I dropped a stamp at one point. So yeah, lots of craziness going on in this video. But that's part of the life. So while I did take out some things I just left in because that's just part of life. So here I was going to stamp that corner with that large flower when it occurred to me that I could use a stamping technique that I learned recently, where you can mask your stamps and you get different effects. So I decided to use this washi tape to mask, and you can do this a couple of different ways depending on what you're going for. You can either use the tape the way I'm doing right now. I actually do it a couple of different ways. So here I am putting down the masking tape on the paper because I want the stamp to appear as if it's behind the girl. So, and it occurred to me while doing that the rest of the stamping is going to be the same. I want it all behind the girls. So I go through and I used a washi tape that I could see through, and I used my knife to cut around the outline of the girl so that I can stamp and it not show up on her hair, face, book. Then you'll see a little bit later, I will go back and use a different masking technique where I cover up part of the stamp so that only part of it shows up, because there's a stack of books in this kit that I wanted to use. I wanted to use part of it standing up instead of laying down, so I had to mask some of it to get that effect. And you'll see that in a little while. But that's what I'm doing here, is just using a technique so that I can get the stamps that I put down to appear as if they're behind the girls. Do I make some mistakes? Of course. This wouldn't be an Adilla if I didn't make any mistakes. Some mistakes get made, and you'll see as those happen. I will go in and try to correct them. It's really not as big of a deal to me. The final product, I think that it's a tiny bit obvious that there were some corrections that had to be made. I'm okay with it. At the end of the day, the journal is for me, and I'm still going to use it regardless. And there went that stamp. That hurt my heart so bad, guys. I know I'm sitting here saying no big deal, but at the moment I was like, no, why? Anyways, I'll go back in and I'll use, a white gel pen to correct it. And when I go in and write over it, you won't be able to notice as much. So it's really not that serious. Okay, so what I was talking about earlier with the stack of books. Here I'm using the other masking technique. I used the leftovers from the washi tape that I used for the girls to mask part of that stack so that I can get a couple of books standing up. Another thing about stamping that used to be a really big deal to me, and now it's not so much. I don't know why I didn't think of it before. When you stamp and you maybe don't get every single line, not everything comes out, you didn't put enough pressure, and you don't want to go back and try to do it again to make it darker. You can always go back with a fine pen to fill in that space, to complete it. You'll see me doing that as well. Sometimes, I go back in and I will just stamp it darker, like on the second girl from the left. I just went in and stamped her again. Sometimes I don't think that I can get it even enough for that. So instead of stamping it again, I will just go in with a pen to complete the picture. And that looks just fine. It's not a big deal. Especially when you're just using black ink like this and going back and coloring. There's so much that you can fix. It is not the end of the world, I promise. Here we go, the moment of truth. We pull up the washi, and now you can see that it looks like all that decoration is behind the girls. Now you'll see me going in with my white gel pen, attempting to clean up any of the lines, smudges, things that happened that I really didn't notice while I was stamping, but I noticed afterwards. I was also trying to erase pencil lines at the same time. You know, in hindsight, I think next time a lot of this, I'll just leave it be. I think a lot of it would have gotten covered up by the coloring anyway, without me having to use the white pen. It's, like I said earlier, not a big deal, but next time I think I'll leave it alone. And then this is what I was talking about earlier, where you can always go in with a fine pen to fill out the lines that your stamping was missing. That I definitely would do again, only I would have a little bit more patience. At this point, the baby was getting very, very upset, so I was kind of rushing through it, being pretty sloppy. Next time, I would take my time and be more careful. Not only with the stamping to begin with, but also with filling in lines with the pen and all of that. Either way, I like the end results, so I'm good with what happened. And after I draw in these lines, that pretty much does it. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Tell me what you think. Comment down below. Make sure that you like and subscribe, and thanks for watching. See you next time.